Stop scrolling right now and listen closely because what you are about to hear is a moment fans did not expect and cannot forget. Like this video, subscribe to Kdrama Drops, comment your thoughts, and share this story everywhere because tonight in the freezing cold of Harbin something quietly beautiful unfolded. Shen Yue shined with her cute friends under winter lights and Dylan Wang stood at a distance admiring her presence in silence. This is the kind of scene that does not need noise to become unforgettable. The night in Harbin carried a special stillness. The air was sharp and clear, and every breath felt visible. Streetlights reflected off icy paths, and laughter drifted softly through the cold. Shin Yue arrived wrapped in warmth and ease, her smile natural, her energy light. She was not performing. She was simply being herself. Friends gathered around her, playful, relaxed, unguarded. In that moment she looked free. People nearby noticed her first, not because of fame but because of warmth. In a place where the cold demands attention, she brought balance. She moved easily from conversation to conversation, her laugh rising and falling like music that softened the night. Cameras were not the focus. Attention was not demanded. And that was exactly why the moment mattered. A short distance away, Dylan Wang watched. He did not step forward immediately. He did not interrupt. He stood with hands tucked into his coat, letting the cold bite while his gaze stayed steady. There was no performance in his posture, only quiet admiration. Those who noticed him described a calm stillness, as if time slowed around him. Harbin was known for freezing nights, but he did not seem to mind. His focus was elsewhere. As Shen Yue laughed with her friends, the scene felt almost unreal. The contrast between the icy air and the warmth of connection created a cinematic calm. It was the kind of moment fans dream about, but rarely witness. Not staged. Not announced. Just real life unfolding gently. Friends teased Shen Yue about the cold and she waved it off. She adjusted her scarf and smiled brighter. Her confidence did not shout. It glowed. She listened more than she spoke, and when she did speak, people leaned in. That is presence. That is why eyes followed her without effort. Dylan Wang shifted his weight against the cold and finally smiled. Not wide. Not dramatic. Just enough to reveal what words were unnecessary to say. Those who saw it felt it. Admiration without possession. Respect without interruption. A quiet choice to let her moment remain hers. Harbin nights can be unforgiving, but they can also be magical. Lights shimmered against frost. Footsteps crunched softly. Time seemed to stretch. The group moved slowly as if no one wanted the moment to end. Shin Yue took photos with friends, her cheeks slightly flushed from the cold, her eyes bright. Each click captured laughter and closeness. Dylan Wang stayed present. He did not rush. He did not retreat. He remained in that in-between space where observation becomes care. Fans later described how rare it felt to witness admiration that did not seek attention. It was not about being seen together. It was about allowing joy to exist without claiming it. As the night deepened, the cold intensified. Breath became clouds. Yet no one complained. Warm drinks were passed around. Scarves tightened. Laughter continued. Shin Yue thanked her friends for braving the weather with her, and they laughed, saying she made the cold easier. That line would echo later among fans who felt the same. A subtle moment followed. Shin Yue glanced across the space, and their eyes met briefly. No wave. No signal. Just recognition. A shared understanding that needed nothing more. Dylan Wang nodded almost imperceptibly. It was enough. The night eventually wound down. Friends began to say goodbyes, promising to meet again when the weather softened. Shen Yue lingered a moment, taking in the scene as if storing it away. She looked content, grounded, and present. The cold had not stolen the joy. It had framed it. As people dispersed, Dylan Wang finally stepped forward, not to take center stage, but to ensure she was warm enough. A quiet check. A gentle presence. Then they parted with the same calm that defined the night. No rush. No spectacle. Fans who learned about the moment reacted not with shock, but with warmth. Comments spoke of respect, patience, and genuine admiration. Many said this was the kind of connection they hoped to see. One that allows space. One that honors individuality. One that shines quietly. Harbin returned to its usual rhythm. Lights dimmed. Streets cleared. But the memory stayed. A winter night. A circle of friends. A woman shining effortlessly. A man admiring from the cold. No headlines needed. No drama required. If this story made you feel something, then like this video, subscribe to Kdrama Drops, comment your favorite moment, and share this story with fellow fans. Because sometimes the most powerful scenes are not loud. They are gentle. And they stay with you long after the cold fades. As the night in Harbin continued, something subtle began to change. The laughter did not fade, but it softened. Conversations slowed. The cold grew sharper, and yet no one seemed eager to leave. Moments like this are rare. Moments that feel complete without needing to become anything else. Shen Yue stood with her friends, listening more than speaking. Her eyes reflected the lights around them and the quiet joy of being present. She adjusted her coat and smiled gently as one of her friends joked about how even the cold could not compete with her warmth. She laughed softly and shook her head as if embarrassed by the attention. What fans later understood was that this was not about being admired. It was about being comfortable. Comfortable enough to let joy exist without protection. Dylan Wang remained nearby. The cold had settled into his shoulders, but he did not move away. He watched as Shen Yue leaned into laughter and shared stories that clearly belonged to a world far from work schedules and expectations. There was something grounding about seeing her like this. Not as a role, not as a name, just as herself. People who noticed him said his expression never changed dramatically. It did not need to. There was steadiness in the way he stood. A patience that felt intentional. He was not waiting for a moment to step in. He was allowing a moment to remain untouched. As time passed, the group began to walk slowly along the street. The sound of footsteps against frozen ground echoed softly. Shen Yue walked in the center, surrounded by friends. Her movements relaxed. Her posture open. She pointed at something in the distance, and everyone followed her gaze, laughing at something small and ordinary. Dylan Wang followed at a respectful distance. Close enough to be aware. Far enough to give space. It was a balance that spoke louder than words. The city around them felt quieter than usual. Harbin seemed to pause. Lights reflected off ice and shadows stretched long across the pavement. Breath rose into the air and disappeared just as quickly. The night felt fragile, as if one loud sound could break it. At one point Shen Yue stopped walking and turned slowly, taking in the scene. She closed her eyes briefly, letting the cold air fill her lungs. When she opened them, she looked peaceful. Content. Present. Dylan Wang noticed that moment. He did not interrupt it. He did not call out. He simply watched. Those who saw him later described that this was the moment that stayed with them the most. Not a smile. Not an interaction. But the decision to let silence exist. Eventually the group found a place to warm up. Steam rose from cups held carefully in gloved hands. Shen Yue thanked her friends again for staying out so long. She told them nights like this mattered. That memories built in quiet moments last longer than any celebration. Her friends agreed. They teased her gently. They spoke about plans for the future. About meeting again when seasons changed. About holding on to moments like this when life became busy again. Dylan Wang stayed nearby, listening but not intruding. He remained attentive. Protective in a way that did not announce itself. When the group finally began to disperse, he made sure Shen Yue was comfortable before stepping back again. No cameras captured this clearly. No statements were released. And yet fans felt it deeply. When news of the night reached people around the world, the reaction was not explosive. It was warm. Comments filled with words like peaceful, genuine, respectful, and real. Fans spoke about how rare it was to witness admiration without possession. Support without pressure. Presence without performance. Many said this moment changed how they understood connection. That it reminded them love and care do not always demand attention. Sometimes they stand quietly in the cold, allowing someone else to shine. As the night ended, Harbin returned to its stillness. Streets emptied. Lights dimmed. The cold lingered. But something had already settled into memory. For Shen Yue, the night became a reminder that joy does not need an audience to be real. That friendship grounds her. That warmth can exist even in the coldest places. For Dylan Wang, it was a quiet confirmation that admiration does not need to be loud to be sincere. That sometimes the strongest gesture is restraint. And for fans, it became a story that felt personal. A moment that did not belong to headlines but to the heart. If this continuation moved you, then like this video, subscribe to Kdrama Drops, comment your thoughts, and share this story. Because the most unforgettable scenes are not always the ones everyone sees. They are the ones that feel honest. And once you feel them, you carry them with you long after the night has passed.